In today's video, I'm gonna show you the strategies I use to bounce back after a weekend of overeating or binge eating. Guys, if you don't know who I am, my name is Jonathan. I went from 250 to 177. I lost over 70 pounds through trial and error, and I make videos like this to give you realistic and effective strategies that actually work, so you have to waste time doing things that don't. All right, so what prompted me to kind of make this video is that somebody in the community had asked about, they were going into the weekend and, they kind of feel like they needed a meal plan and they wanted to stay on top of their calories. And, while I was reading that, I was stuffing my face with the whole Jersey Mike's giant sub. So, I just thought it was a good time to kind of make this video because this past weekend, I definitely overate. So I know somebody else probably did too. And if you are pursuing fat loss or you have fat loss goals or fitness goals that you made in the beginning of the year and you're trying to get to a certain spot, it's important to know how to overcome these things, these setbacks when we have them. And I want to tell you that, it's okay to be human. It's okay to enjoy food and, to have cheat meals and stuff like that. You don't have to ruin progress just because you had one particular cheat meal. So like I said in today's video, what I want to do is show you guys how I normally get back on track and still continue to have progress even after binging on a weekend. And like I said, everybody's going to have these things that they go through. No matter how shredded you are, most shredded guys still have these days as well too. It doesn't matter when you even get to 12% body fat or your ideal body fat range, you're still going to have these days and you're still going to mess up. The difference is that the guys who are completely lean or completely shredded, they have a shorter response time in terms of getting back on track. They know how to position themselves to get back on track. AKA, you can have the cheat meal. The difference is how you respond the next day. All right, so in order to truly get over this, I want you to have like a mindset shift, right? You need to understand that, just because you go fall off the bandwagon or pig out for one day, or in this case, it was probably 2 days for me, doesn't mean that you need to stop everything you're doing now just because you had the one bad day. I've seen a lot of people wreck a lot of their progress and they say, well, I went on vacation and after that, I just, everything kind of went downhill after that. Or, I went to a family event and everything kind of went downhill afterwards. And it doesn't have to be like that because even a few bad days, even 1 week won't ruin that much of progress if we're consistent throughout the rest of the year. So I'm going to say that again. One bad day, even 1 week of bad eating was not going to ruin a bunch of progress if we've been consistent throughout the year. And even if it does, let's say, you do pig out and you do gain 10 pounds in a week, in these couple of days or whatever, again, getting back on track will help dissipate a lot of that bloating, a lot of the fluid retention, a lot of the sodium buildup that comes from overeating certain food. So one thing I do to get back on track, one strategy I use, and it's just to get back to normal eating for fat loss. Now, what does that look like? What is normal eating for fat loss? Guys, I do have a community where we do have discussions and I do post meal plans, grocery lists, and things like that to show you what normal eating and a calorie deficit and fat loss nutrition actually looks like. But I would get back to a particular meal plan, like in the one I just recently shared in the community for the month of September. There's a meal plan that's going to be utilizing a lot of like chicken breast and like lean ground beef and potatoes as sides. So we're going to be utilizing that type of meal structure and we're going to get right back to that. We're going to get right back to prioritizing protein. We're going to get right back to having protein with every meal. And we're going to get right back to either tracking calories or eating in some type of meal structure, meal plan framework that's going to put us in a calorie deficit. We pick it right back up. Because again, if we're following not necessarily a meal plan, if you want to follow the exact meal plan I lay out, that's fine. But if we're following the meal structure, if we're following a structure, as long as you have sufficient enough protein and, this is a leaner meats, we're going to be in a calorie deficit just with the structure alone. I recommend everybody to get right back to tracking. So if you fell off for a period, you pigged out, get right back to tracking. Because what you'll notice, and this has been true in my case, what you'll notice is within like 5 days, a lot of the excess built up sodium and all the stuff that I talked about earlier that tends to happen will start to dissipate as time goes on. As you get back to your nutrition plan, as you get back to working out, that stuff starts to kind of like fall off you and you get back to your normal weight. So this is why I'm going to tell you too, like after a period of binge eating, don't even look at the scale because the scale is just going to make you mad. That's all it's going to do. It's just going to make you mad. Step on the scale, you're going to be, you can even shoot up 12, 15 pounds heavier. Don't even pay attention to it. Hop back into the structure, the routine that you have laid out. And if you guys are in a community, the meal plan that was laid out, fall right back into that and continue on through the process. Not say, within 5-7 days, hop back on the scale again and kind of see where you're at. but still continue to keep on. The next thing I typically do to get myself back on track is, I'm always a big fan of walking for cardio, getting those active steps in. Now, assuming that, a lot of people, when they fall off the bandwagon for eating, they typically fall off the bandwagon with the fitness and the gym as well, too. If that has not been you, then it's not that bad. You don't have to worry about it. So if you had a day of kind of binge eating on calories, but you still stayed active in the gym, and you, assuming you've been consistent all year round, it's not going to be that big of a deal. Now, if you have not been consistent all year round and you just started to be, you had, like, let's say a month and a half of consistency, then you went off and binge ate for the next 3 days or whatever, and you stopped going to the gym, you want to get back on track too when it comes to your fitness and your activity level. So I would crank up the walking. So typically what I do, and again, this is not me punishing myself because I had extra calories. Again, this is just to me to get that excess sodium, all the bloating away. I would walk walk for some extra time on a treadmill. So if I typically do 45 minutes, I may do an hour. Now, it's easy for me to say this. I'm going to be honest. It's easy for me to say this because I have a treadmill right in the corner over here that I can just use in my house because I set my environment up in a way to kind of cater to my fat loss goals. If that's not your story, you might have to make some extra time and be walking around your neighborhood or make an extra day to go to the gym. If not, if you can't do that, still continue with your normal workout schedule and just continue to eat right back in a calorie deficit, continuously doing the things that you were doing before to get you back on track. It's mainly are going to be a mental battle though, right? So like what I'm saying is not anything that's outside of the ordinary of understanding. It's really a mental thing. It's like this. If you mess up once, you don't want to just, all right, I'm going to burn the whole house down. You get what I mean? Like that doesn't make sense. Don't destroy all your progress. And what destroys progress is not the fact that you had the cheat meal or you binge ate or you went over and you didn't track for a couple of days. What destroys the progress is that you give up after that. That's the catalyst for you saying, all right, this, screw it. I'm just going to just do whatever. And you just give up throughout the rest of the process. And you're going to come towards January when it's New Year's resolution time. And then you're going to be reminded like, oh, well, I was doing that. I don't want that to be your story. So I'm telling you right now, if you had a period of inconsistency, just get back on track and continue to do it. What's going to happen the more you do this, the periods of where you're being inconsistent will start to shrink. And then you'll become a person who is just consistently consistent with their fitness, with their nutrition, with their fat loss. And then you'll look up, guess what? You have progress. You've lost 30 pounds. You lost 40 pounds. You lost 70 pounds. And now you walk around here with a shredded physique and a six-pack, and people are asking you how you did it. So, guys, I hope this video helped. Pretty much main key takeaways is have the mindset you don't have to give up just because you messed up a couple times on the food. If you did fall off the bandwagon, get right back on track by falling into a regular fat loss nutrition eating plan, and then get right back on track with the fitness program or whatever workout schedule that you had. Guys, if you guys need additional help, guys, I do have a community. Every month, we post new meal plans, workout plans, and grocery lists. I do a coaching call every Saturday, so if you need additional guidance, I'm there to answer questions as well, too. Guys, the link for that is going to be down below. Other than that, appreciate you watching the video, and stay tuned for more content. Thanks.